Now to Afghanistan, where allied forces in the U.S. quickly carried out airstrikes after the Taliban attacked a U.S. base over the weekend. The rising tensions come as the Biden administration prepares to withdraw all American troops by September 11th. Senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is on the ground in Kabul with more on that. Ian, good morning. What's the latest there?
Yeah, that's right. The U.S. troop withdrawal is really gathering pace. We're starting to see images of bases being handed over from American to Afghan control. And this morning, we've been looking at some of those Afghan forces in training. They're really going to have to hold the front line pretty much on their own. Of course, the U.S. military is still going to stay there in the background, is going to offer support, but it is going to be at a distance. And there's, of course, some question about their capability to hold ground, because, of course, the Taliban have been on the offensive for a long time. As you say, there was this attack against Kandahar air bases in the south of the country over the weekend. No one claimed responsibility. There was a suspicion that it could have been the Taliban. The U.S. responding again with their own airstrike, but there were no injuries and there was no damage to equipment. But the head of U.S. and NATO forces here, General Miller, essentially warning the Taliban that any kind of attack will be met with a forceful response. Diane?
And Ian, how is the Taliban reacting? We know that you've talked to some Taliban leaders there directly. We heard them threaten what would happen if troops weren't withdrawn by May 1st like they wanted. So now with this back and forth, have you heard any more?
Yeah, I mean, they did issue a statement over the weekend when this May the 1st deadline expired. Remember, May the 1st was a deadline set by the Trump administration. President Biden pushed that to September the 11th, and they were basically accusing the United States of violating the agreement to withdraw, warning they'll take, quotes, every counteraction appropriate against the occupying forces. But it's still early days. I don't detect any large-scale movement by the Taliban against U.S. troops as they pull out. I mean, ultimately, this is what they've been fighting for 20 years. They see themselves as being victorious. But nevertheless, you know, it is still early days. And although they may not be attacking American forces, they're absolutely attacking Afghan forces. There are multiple attacks every single day. Civilian casualties in the first 3 months of this year were almost 30% higher than the same period last year. And of course, Afghans are left wondering what happens when American forces leave, what happens to the gains of the last 20 years, particularly for women and girls. Diane?
And Ian, I know you've been in Afghanistan for the past week or so. What are the troops saying there that you're talking to?
It's interesting because when you talk to the commanders, they certainly exude confidence. They say, don't worry, we don't need American forces here. We can manage the battle on our own. But you're really struck when you see some of these young recruits. And I was talking to this one young recruit who had a little bit of English, same age as my youngest son. He's 19 years old. He's only got 1 week left of training. And you can detect an air of nervousness about them. Remember, a lot of people who join the Afghan National Army do so for financial reasons, because we're in a country where poverty is widespread and it's the chance to earn an income. The Taliban fight out of conviction. They're ready to die for their cause. They see dying as victory. They see defeating their enemy as victory, and that's a hard thing to battle. And technically there are 300,000 Afghan National Army troops, but in practice there have got to be severe questions about their ability to hold the line. And again, away from the commander, this young recruit said to me, we need help. And that's the situation on the ground. Diane?
A sad one. Ian Pannell in Kabul, Afghanistan. Ian, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.